I think we'd all agree on this show that we all really enjoy looking back, don't we? Nostalgia is a big thing, you know? And I think often, I don't know if you agree with me on this, but you do look kind of through rose-tinted glasses because, of course, while we all look back to the good old days, we forget that the modern gadgets that make our life a little bit easier when you look at people who've gone before us. Sadly, you know, you think, oh gosh, they had such a nicer life. Let's not forget they didn't have the automatic washing machine. You know, they weren't able to dial up things, you know, things weren't delivered as quickly. But of course we didn't know all of that, did we? We didn't know the future. It's interesting, as I say on the show, because nostalgia truly is a big thing. And here it's just been revealed that nostalgia is bigger books than we actually first realised. And this is all because seemingly we don't have the superstars that we had of yesteryear. And as ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the very heart of London, and as ever, nice to have your company today. Lovely to see you, whatever you're doing. As I said, you know, we do look back, don't we? And you know, I love nostalgia, as anybody who watches this channel knows. It's interesting though, earlier this week, the 70s rocker Billy Idol, who shot to fame as part of Generation X, was in concert here in London, sold it out, could have sold it out many times. And you know, when you think about it, there's people of a certain age still with all the punk rock hairstyles turning up with the Generation X t-shirts on and the Billy Idol footage and stuff like that. Nothing wrong with that, simply great. A couple of weeks earlier than that, at the famous London Palladium, none other than one of my favourite pop icons, Kim Wilde. She, of course, of the Kids in America fame, sold out that too. Recently put out a brand new album, which was a great success also. Fabulous to note, don't you think, that really they can still command an audience and still make incredibly popular music? But this is now what the music industry, the film industry, or showbiz in general are realising, that actually there's bigger business now in nostalgia than trying to relaunch an artist into the modern world. All that be through social media and any other media platform that they can find. But you know, I don't know if you know this, but people like the late Elvis makes more money now than ever before. This is not just through the re-release of his films, his concerts, his records, but of course those wonderful shows, those tribute acts that keep the Elvis phenomenon alive. He was the biggest pop star in the world. The Beatles shows do incredibly well. But why is it that we're looking back rather than looking forward? Well, according to this report, which will be out soon, people are going through very difficult times, as we know right now. Cost of living crisis is everywhere. We're all struggling at some point, trying to wonder how we're going to make ends meet. And then what we tend to do is look back to happier times. Recently on the show, I mentioned the fact that Adam Ant is still touring and still as popular as ever. That brought so many comments about how they remembered him, loved him, and of course, like me, bought the records, because that's what you did then, didn't you? You went into a shop and actually physically bought the record. Far better times, I often think. But it's interesting because, as I say, people like that have now seen a resurgence. And this apparently all started during the pandemic, when people were looking back and remembering certain things that they hadn't looked at for years. And this has now made these artists popular once again. Difficult, of course, now for more modern artists. Of course, the young people don't want to know the old artists, but some do get rediscovered. And then, of course, you know, they get a brand new audience. But it's also difficult if you are a new artist because people have less attention span, don't invest into the product as much, say, as our generation would have done. You know, buying the book, the poster, 2 to 3 albums in. When you look at somebody like Kate Bush, who I'm a huge fan of, you know, she brings out albums very sporadically, but instantly they go to #1. As ever, it's interesting to note, isn't it, that nostalgia seemingly is still the biggest moneymaker in the music business today. I'd love to know, as ever, what your favourite artists are. Do you think they can still stand the test of time? And more importantly, why have they stood the test of time? What was your very first record that you bought, and why did you remain a fan of those or that particular artist for so many years? I'll let you into a secret. I love a good novelty song, you know, whether it be the Crazy Frog or Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini. All of those things take you back to a fun time, you know, uncomplicated. And more importantly, you know, not stretching that alma mater, is it? It's just fun. And that's really what we truly need in this world right now. As I say, according to that brand new report, nostalgia is big business. But is it still big business for you? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.